everyone, Miss Bandis here talking about motion. So we're going to take pictures that have frozen motion and blurred motion. Frozen motion, the moving subject is in focus, showing the movement, and use a short exposure. Blur motion lets you convey feelings of movement in the image without the moving subject being sharp and clear, and you use a long exposure. The shutter speed is what you would control to adjust the exposure time. So in photography, the shutter speed refers to the duration the camera's shutter remains open, allowing light to expose the sensor and create an image. It's measured in seconds or fractions of a second, and significantly impacts exposure and portrayal of motion in the final image. So if you have a shorter shutter speed, like 1/1000th of a second, that's going to have that frozen motion. If you have a longer shutter speed, like 1/8 of a second, that is going to have more blurred motion in it. So when you're taking pictures, you want to think about what's moving and how you want to take a picture of it. So especially with animals, I tend to have more of a, you want to take like more frozen motion pictures. So you'll have a higher shutter speed, like the 1/1000th of a second. So of that bison, I took these pictures. It was rolling around in the dirt, and I really wanted to capture that motion there, but I wanted it to be frozen. So I used a higher shutter speed. You can think more like sport mode, if you have that on a digital camera that you have. So you can get that it was capturing that dust around it, but he was frozen in motion here. So you can think about the animals you see. How are you going to take those pictures to capture those emotions that the animal is doing, so you can take them really quick and freeze that movement. So when you're looking at animals moving too, you want to think about the lighting in it. How are you going to capture it? If they're smaller on the screen, it's not really going to show that motion, even though you were able to capture it. Same with something moving like water. It doesn't have to be an animal. It could be something more natural. But think about when it stops. Is that going to convey that movement in your image, or is it not going to, in a still image, is it not going to show as that movement as well? Like here, it's harder to see that motion, even though all that sand was blowing towards the viewer. Or like leaves falling. Is there a lot of other information happening in the picture where it's hard for it to be captured or to be seen? You might have to zoom in on your object or crop it in so that you can see that motion. Like if you see here, there were like a couple of leaves falling, but it's not really capturing. Oh, there's another one. It's not really capturing it in the image. So for blurred motion, you're going to have that longer exposure, the smaller number of shutter speed. So like if it says 8 on the camera, that's 1/8. So it is a longer number because it's 1/8 of a second. So the motion, like you can still see what it is, but it's moving. You could also do light painting for this, where you make it really dark and then you move a light around and it captures that movement and you can make whatever kinds of shapes or designs you want in there. I would use a lighting studio for this so that you can turn off the lights to be able to capture that light movement. But that is how you capture movement and motion in your photographs.